Hello everybody and welcome to the LuckPerms installation and setup video. So after watching this video, you're going to know how to set up LuckPerms, whether you should set it up for your Velocity or paper network. I'm going to be showing you a couple of cool commands. We will go over configuration, and those of you that have the system admin training, which this video is actually a part of, are also going to be able to use Redis. So if you have system admin, I'm going to teach you how to set it up with Redis, how to spy, how to, broadcast packets here, and how to also set up a very nice panel on your own private Linux machine, and much more. However, this does not fit in just one video. This video would have been 3 hours long. So if you want to learn more on how to manage Minecraft networks and become a very, very good sysadmin, click the link below and learn more about that training. In this video, it is just about LuckPerms. And if you want to learn on how to set up these beautiful admin tags, whether that's in the chat or the tab or scoreboard or even name tag, check out my other free video on YouTube titled Items Adder Rank Images with LuckPerms Beginner Tutorial. It is quick and it will show you everything you need, and it is great to watch right after this one. So welcome back to our LuckPerms installation video. This one will continue where we stand. So we have now set up the panel, we've set up a database, we've set up Redis, and by the way, a side note, I do have a free video on YouTube if you guys want to add custom rank images, whether that's in the chat, tab, scoreboard, or pretty much anywhere else. So just go ahead and check this. It's completely free, it's on YouTube, and it's great to watch right after this one. So just a quick note, if you haven't yet used LuckPerms, it is a permissions plugin because by default, Minecraft network does not come with any permissions management, right? Matter of fact, the vanilla server doesn't even support plugins, which is really bad. Paper does support plugins, and they do have a file which gives you a little bit of hope. It's called, where is that? Permissions here. But if you open it, your hope is immediately destroyed because you'll notice the file is empty and it doesn't quite work as you would expect from a permissions setup. So we need to have a plugin here. And LuckPerms is free, it's open source, it supports database, it supports Velocity, all that good stuff. It's been well maintained for many years, so let's crack into how to use it. Now, throughout this course, we did install and set up LuckPerms multiple times, so I'm not going to spend excessive, crazy amount of time doing it all over again. I'll just give you a quick heads up, and then you'll make a decision what do you need. The biggest question here, should I install LuckPerms on my paper? Should I install it on my Velocity network? What the hell is going on if you're running Velocity? If you're not running Velocity, the answer is very, very simple. Just put it on your paper or folia or leaf or paper or God knows what else fork you're using. Put it just there. Don't worry about it. And you don't even need to have a remote database. You can literally just use, and this is my favorite for simplification here. If I go to the storage method, you can literally just use the YAML, okay, dash, and it's actually right here, combined, so that you can edit all of your stuff locally in a beautiful .yml file. That's it. All right, don't overthink it. If you have a Velocity network, however, you still don't necessarily need to put it on Velocity, because if you do, it still needs to be installed on your backend, which is the paper server you're looking at right now. And the only reason you should put it on Velocity is if you have specific proxy Velocity plugins that need permissions. Okay? If you don't, then there's no point, because you still need to have a permission system on your backend. So the front end, the proxy, is just an optional feature. Only install it there, only bother wasting your time if you have Velocity plugins who require it. Good. So let's gloss over how to actually install the dang thing now that I'm speaking about it so much. So go to LuckPerms.net, click download, and you want to be getting the bukkit version. If for whatever reason you fell asleep 10 years ago, you still use Legacy, get the Legacy, fine. For Velocity, there is another distro. For Bungie, there is another distro, so you just want to be careful with this. Click bukkit, download the jar, and then open up wherever is your server. Okay, go to plugins. We're using a panel that we set up throughout this course. If you don't, it's all right. Just locate somehow where your plugins are and just drag and drop the jar into it. You're gonna be careful because we already have LuckPerms in here. As you can see, this is the older file. So what do we want to do? We want to delete it. There we go. And we want to paste it anew. The problem with this is that I just done it on a live server because it looks like I'm an idiot. So don't do that on a live server. Make sure to stop the server first and then actually do it. Now, let's go ahead and start the server. I'm not going to do it because I'll tell you why in a sec. After you started the server the first time, LuckPerms is going to generate a folder. Inside the folder, you're going to have a lot of stuff which you don't want to open. Translations, don't really need to, all right? Libs, definitely don't need to put your fingers in there. It's just a list of compiled jars of other libraries and dependencies. Then you have your context, whatever that means. I honestly don't even know. Super advanced. I never touched it. And then you have the database file, because by default, LuckPerms will use a local database. So throughout this training, we're talking about local databases, and we've set up a remote database. Let's just crack into the SSH here. So we have Redis now. We have Pelican DB, which uses the MariaDB, and this is called a remote database. And then this is called a simply publish or subscribe service for data. Okay. So by default, LuckPerms doesn't know that. So they assume you don't have nothing. So what they do, they simply just create a local file here with all the data. Okay. So that's the default one. And I believe that the default one is the H2. Yep, it says H2 here. Good. So we want to get rid of that. And if you don't want to use remote, all you're going to do is what I recommend using YAML combine. One file satisfies all your needs. Perfect. Now, because we do have remote database, we just want to switch to it. I recommend MariaDB. They even recommend it as well. There are some benefits. I mean, not really. You'll be just fine with any of that. But if you do have the option, switch to MariaDB. That's what I did here. So open up config YAML and locate storage method and set it to MariaDB. If you're using this in a good website that supports inline search, you want to click your mouse here, press Control F, and then just paste storage method : to locate it immediately. All right. So we set this up. Now, scroll down, go to data, and we need to set up an address. Because this is a VPS that we set up, we're going to be using the private IP address of it. So I covered this command a few times. It's a simple command, IP. We're going to be filtering the older v4 version, and we're just interested in printing out the address of the first device on Ethernet, which is typically the one we need. So right here, this is the one. If you type it in, just copy paste it in here, and then the port should be the default one. MySQL, MariaDB share the same port. On some hostings, if you don't have a VPS, on some hostings, you're gonna be careful with that. You're gonna want to type in localhost. All right. So if the private IP is not available to, try typing in localhost. Also, on some hostings, you might as well type in 127.0.0.1. So whatever you need, just type it in there. If nothing works, do not throw away your hosting. Open a ticket and ask them. Then database, username and password. So this is something we set up throughout this training. Again, if you don't have your panel, just ask or try to get it from your hosting. Last resort, I mean, that would be a shitty hosting if they should give you password over a ticket. But last resort, just open a ticket and ask, hey, how can I generate a database with a username and a password? Most hosting will provide it for you. If they don't, oops, you're out of luck. Well, in that case, I recommend maybe just Googling what's a free, good database provider, or maybe getting these free credits that I've been recommending to you since the beginning and getting your VPS for free that way. All right, that's all we need to touch. We don't really want to screw around with the pool settings unless you scale past hundreds of players. That is just fine. Okay, you really don't want to do that. But of course, look, there's links here, there's explanations here. What I also like to do is just copy the whole thing, paste it in ChatGPT. Make sure to use a good model or Claude. Use Opus or Fable. Don't use the shitty Haiku one, right? So use that top model and just ask him, hey, can I what's the benefit of using this? I'm running a server. I'm having about 120 players. We're maxing out. Notice some performance degradation. Copy the whole thing and ask if there's anything you can do better. But for the normal mortal person, we don't need to. Good. So that's the thing. Now, if you hit save and close and you go ahead and start the server, you should be good to go. In the last video, we've also configured Redis. I'm not going to be talking about Redis in this video. This would take another goddamn half an hour. So I'm just going to put it out there. Check out the last one for Redis. Redis is all said and done, but it won't make any difference because Redis is all in the background. All right, good. So now we have our Minecraft server ready, and I'm going to teach you some great commands here. So first of all, make sure that you have the operator status. If you don't, this will not pop up. So to navigate LuckPerms, just type in /lp help. All right, you're going to get a lot of good commands here, and we want to be looking into them. So first command you want to understand is list groups. So basically in LuckPerms you have groups such as the default, which is basically nobody, is the default group everybody will join into. Then you can create multiple groups like admins, moderators, VIPs, or God knows what else, and you can put people into these groups, and then every group can inherit permissions from another group. So you can build these crazy complicated inheritance trees which big Minecraft networks use. I don't recommend that. I'm a simple guy. I like to have a default group, an admin group, and say a sponsor group, or multiple paid groups if I have multiple paid tiers and I want to make millions of dollars from my Minecraft network and turn it into a, pay to win garbage. Just joking. So first of all, first command I'll teach you is the create group. So the create group command, if you type it in here, it's going to give you command usage, which will help you understand it. And the arguments are in the order in which you need to type them. So the first one is the name. Let's say this group will be the VIP. All right. The weight of the group should mean how far it comes in the pipeline. The weight of the group simply means which group wins when a player has multiple groups. All right. Because I'll give you a command that can put a player to multiple. And LuckPerms supports that. It starts to be a little complicated, so don't worry about that. Just understand that players can have multiple groups. The one with the biggest weight wins. And you don't even need to specify the weight because the command here has these kinds of brackets, which means it's optional. So let's just type in VIP group, and then let's create another one for mods, and then let's create another from admins. I already have admin group right here, and notice that the weight here is actually 0 for all. So we're going to be playing around with this later. For now, it's fine. Good. Now let's create some inheritance. So to create an inheritance, you can type in the group command, then select the group, and then we're going to be adding to the parent all default permissions. That means that VIP will inherit all permissions from the default group. Type that in here. And now let's make sure that the moderator gets all the VIP permissions. And now let's make sure that the admin gets all the mod permissions. All right. If I open up my board of justice for people who need that, for people who love my board of justice, let's say that you are a nobody, you're the default person right here in jail, and then you up to a VIP. All right, and then you up it to a mod, and then you up it to an admin, AD. All right. So basically, the higher you go, you inherit. Admins get all of them. Moderators get mods, VIPs, etc. VIPs get these. All right, makes sense. That should be good to go. And now, just in case you'll happen to accidentally add to multiple groups one player, it's a good practice to set waves. So the default one, let's just say we're going to have a wave set to 1. The VIP one, let's say it's going to be 10. Moderator, let's say 20. And let's say the admin is going to have 100. It's not that important. You can always change that a little bit later. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mohist because I love Mohist and I'm going to be donating them a lot of money. I'm just kidding. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be getting essentials here to demonstrate a couple of permissions. If you need help installing plugins, I don't think you're watching the right video, my friend, but I'll give you the steps anyways. Just go ahead to Files, open up Plugins, copy paste that in here, the jar, and just restart the server. Now, while I have the website open, let's click the permissions tab here. And let's say we're really building a goddamn pay-to-win server. Well, I'm just joking with you, obviously, but I'll demonstrate this for simplicity's sake. Let's say I want my VIPs to be able to fly around the map, all right? So this permission is called essentials.fly. So what I'll do right here, I'll copy this, and then I'll go ahead in the game again, and I'll teach you how to add permissions. Type in LP group, select the group, so that is VIP, permission, and then we're going to add the permission. We're going to set the permission, essentials fly, to true. So right now, I'm going to be typing in another command called LP user, which will print out my username and then information about my user basically. So you can see that I am in the default group actually. But reason being I can type every command I want is because of the operator status. So once I delete myself from the ops list, this command no longer works. All right, if I type in fly, I can't because I am in the default group. So what we have to do now, I'm going to teach you another command. We're going to be adding a user, so lp user kangaroo co parent. We're going to be adding a group called VIP for that particular user. There we go. And now if I type flying, whoa, now you can see I toggled my flying. Essentials also lets you disable flying for second player, any other player with this argument. All right. If I type in fly here in the console, you can see we need a player. And this is controlled by a sub permission fly.others. So there's two ways basically. The number one way, the old school way, good old school control way, is if you use the group VIP permission set command, you just type in the exact subgroup, or I should say others, not fly flight. There we go, and you set it to true. And right now, notice what will happen. If I type in someone else, instead of it not telling me anything and just using my own flight mode, it'll actually try to reach for that other player, okay? Now, let's remove that permission, and actually you'd be surprised if you type in remove, doesn't work, we have to unset it. There we go. The other way that you can set it is using the little asterisk. So if you use the little star here, or asterisk, it's called a wild card. It's kind of weird. So if you use this, basically anything that comes after the player or the group will have on true. So let's type that and let's go ahead right here. So right now I should have the save login, okay? I should have others. So this one will still work. And then let's say in the future, if I give myself the operator status and I turn into survival and I'm standing on the top of nowhere and I relog, then Essentials should kick into gear and it should fire. It should put me into flight mode when I log in while in the air. I'm not going to waste your time demonstrating this. Just know that it's in there and just understand the principle. So the wildcard, little star thingy here, will give you all of the sub permissions. Now, what happens here? If I group VIP all permissions, okay, this is called the wildcard gone wild because it will literally give you all permissions. This is called basically equals to the operator status. So now I can type in, I can change my game mode, I can op someone, all right, I can type in LP help. It works the same way as an operator status. You want to be very careful with this. Only give it to yourself. Don't even trust your moderators with this. I've seen a lot of bad things happen when people trusted their moderators too much with this little star thingy. Now, if you look at the LuckPerms.net Wikipedia, and by the way, what I do now, instead of reading this whole thing, I'll just give the link to a good ChatGPT model that uses web search well and understands how to read English and actually understands, and I'll just tell him my use case, and it's pretty good at just printing out what I need to type in. Because if you notice here, when you're studying the permissions, right? So this is the command that I've been teaching you. Permission set, node is the actual permissions. It's just called the node. True, false, you got so far. And then the context here. So what is the context? Well, turns out that you can set it for a particular world. You can set it for a particular server. So server, world, particular game mode, dimension type, proxy. It's very interesting. So how do we do that? Well, let's just type this. LP group, let's just go back to VIP, permission set, world edit, dot star, true, server equals creative. So this, I'm not going to demonstrate, but in theory, this would let all VIP players on the creative server, and notice that we're not in creative server. We are in the standard server 1. The server that is creative was set up as the second server, right? So this is only going to work if you have remote database set up and if you have some messaging system, whether that's just a standard SQL one or Redis. Okay, it's not going to work on this server. There's no point. But if you do have Velocity Network, you can totally use this argument. And then the moment that I enter creative server, boom, I'm giving every permission in world edit, and I can just nuke the entire map with TNTs, etc. Now, how do you set prefixes and suffixes? Well, turns out there's the LP group VIP, there's the meta editing command. So if you type meta, you can type set prefix, and then you can actually set the weight, which is kind of like prefix priority, right? Let's say that you have a prefix for moderators that has weight 20, and then you have a prefix for VIPs that has weight 10. Well, you don't really want the player in the chat, hello, to be VIP mod. You just want him to be mod, right? Well, of course, you can also set it up if you want multiple prefixes, but if you use the weighting system, it will resolve the conflict, and then the higher will take precedence, the higher will take priority. And so let's just type that in. Now, before we do, notice what I did here. I used the color formatting scheme here. So this is the legacy Minecraft formatting codes. If you go to Minecraft wiki-w-formatting_codes, you'll see all the possibilities here. Instead of using the paragraph symbol, you just need to use the little ampersand symbol. And people behind Paper and Adventure, they absolutely love this. It's called Legacy Colors. They love it. You should donate money. I'm just joking. They're a little bit salty for that for no apparent reason, because it just works for so many years and it's beautiful. So here's a little table for you. All right, just make sure you are on the, where's that? On the Java edition. So some of these colors are only Bedrock, so these colors are not going to be working for you. Only use these. Okay, let's say we want to go ahead and have a gold VIP prefix. What you want to do is type that in. Now, the way that this is going to work is that some of you might want to have a space at the end. Okay, so how did LuckPerms solve this problem? Well, it turns out you can put everything into double quotes. So everything in will be the prefix. There we go. Type that in here, type something, and voila, nothing will happen, because LuckPerms is not your goddamn chat renderer. You need my own plugin. You need to buy more stuff from me. Not only you need to buy a course from me, you need to buy a plugin from me. I'm just joking. There's a great plugin. It's called Chat Control, but if you don't want to pay, there's a great plugin. It's called Tap. If you install this, it will immediately recognize and start rendering your prefixes, whether that's in the chat, whether that's up here in the tab list, right? And it will recognize that. Also, if you're using Adventure library from Kaori, you can just open up kaori.net, go to the docs, click on mini message, go to format right here. You'll notice that instead of typing gold, we can just type gold like this, all right? And there's even the mini message web viewer to help you with your fetish needs. So if I type gold, say VIP here, now it's in gold. So if you have a compatible plugin, and let's say you want to do like a custom RGB colors, because why not? Just like that. What we're going to do is just edit this out to this, and you can use your beautiful mini message colors. All right. Just know, again, nothing will happen. You need to get a plugin that can actually render this prefix, can actually render. And the way most plugins will do, they'll use a walled extension. So you can ask your favorite plugin creator how they do that. So some of them you also need to get walled if you want them to communicate with your LuckPerms through walled. Walled will work as a bridge. Next up is the LP editor. So the editor will create a new link, can open, and then we need to copy this trusted editor and then paste it in here, delete the /, there we go. This is basically an attempt to edit everything in a GUI on LuckPerms website. Now I'm gonna leave you the beautiful privilege of clicking here and setting these values by yourself. Okay, I don't think it should take that long to figure out. It is not as comprehensive as using commands, and we of course want to be sysadmins. We want to be handy. We want to be really good with damn commands, right? But just know that this is an option, and they do provide a web interface for, let's say, 60-70% of commands covered. Now, before we finish, I'm not going to cover everything in this video because it's just too much. LuckPerms.net has a beautiful Wikipedia. So that's how it works. There's a lot of good stuff on the Wikipedia. Also, in the last video, we touched upon this little LP verbose on command here. So basically, LuckPerms has a debug mode. It's called a verbose mode. And if I type that in, something will happen here. Let's say I type, okay? Every time I interact with the server, every time a plugin tries to every time a plugin tries to do something, you can see that I have a chat control installed and it's checking periodically for a mute permission and a new current permission. So it will print out what the hell is going on and what's going on with your plugins. It's a really amazing thing to solve your issues. So the instant that I chatted, as you can see, chat control asked, do I have the permission to write? Kangaroo, yes, he does. Do I have permissions to type in colors? Yes, he does. Do I have permission to bypass a bunch of sensors? Yes, he does. Matter of fact, we have everything we need. All right, so just know about this command. It's right there for your convenience. LP verbose off is the way to toggle it off. Amazing, guys. Covered a lot of grounds. Next step, I recommend check out this video if you wanna get these beautiful ranks. Get the tab plugin or get the chat control plugin if you wanna format it here. You might be picky. Well, you do have chat control, but it doesn't work. Well, sir, it's not configured. I literally had it off. Anyways, thank you so much for sticking in. I'll see you in the next lesson.